Hello guys, welcome again to my channel. Hope you all guys are doing good and you are well. Myself Gunjan Sharma, and in this video, as you can see in the title, this video is going to be the NodeJs and MongoDB advanced CRUD operations. This will be the second part. As you can see in the screen, whatever these all from 1 to 15, these are API endpoints, actual API endpoints that we are going to develop. And from 1 to 15, this covers almost all advanced feature, almost all advanced CRUD operation that MongoDB node driver has to offer, right? So before that, in the last video of this section, in the first part, we simply created folder, and from folder creation to the MongoDB handshaking, all those things we did see in the last video. Just very quickly, I am trying to give recap of the last video so that we can be in the same page. If you haven't watched the last video, you should go. In the last video, as you can see here, from the first very basic, just I created the plain simple folder. In that folder I created everything bootstrap, and this first part project only I am going to use this day to do our all advanced CRUD operations with the MongoDB. So this was our first part, where I from the very basic created Node.js project and did all the simple insert. As you can see, in the first part I did 8 APIs: inserting the node, reading the node, reading the all node, deleting the node, deleting node by ID, reading node by tag, reading node by the status, and updating node by ID. And today this will be our going to second part. So in this we are going to do, as I have said, advanced CRUD operations. So before going to jump, just little bit I am trying to give a context so that we can all be in the same page, because in this part we are not going to do any setup, we are not going to do any configuration. Everything is already done from the previous project. From there only we will just directly begin writing our actual API endpoint. So our first API will be inserting the multiple node. This is, again, we can call it batch write, how to do batch write. In the second, we will delete multiple node, how to delete multiple node. Third, we will sort the node based on timestamp. After that, 4 API we will make. We will increment some document field inside our collection. Fifth, we will multiply any document field inside our collection. Sixth API we will make, we will rename our document field. See how impressive it is. We will be able to rename our document field, although MySQL don't offer this. 7, we will add document field. In 8, we will remove document field at all from our collection. 9, we will create indexes. This is even more advanced complex. After creating indexes, we will search the node. In MongoDB, if you want to search, then you have to create index for that field. That we will also do. Everything we will do here from also scratch. We will create the indexes. And pagination. This 10th part is my favorite, pagination. We will do very advanced level of very advanced and very efficient pagination as real world applications do, with our data as well. After that, assume we have array inside our collection, inside our document. How to update those array and the field of those array. In the 11 API we will do that. In the 12 API we will retrieve distinct value. Retrieving distinct value means, see, sometime from our API collection, from our API document, we only need some field, but we may have thousands of field. So why to spend our DB bandwidth and our server bandwidth? Instead, we can only ask explicitly MongoDB that we only want this field. So that we will also do in the 11 point. Our 12 point, our 13 point is sorting the result. Very important. We will sort our result of which MongoDB will return us via the read operation. 14, we will do a skip return. We will skip the some result, and after 15 we will limit the result. So basically limiting the result and skipping the result, these two by joining these two operations we will achieve our pagination. Okay, so pagination is done by this only. We will write a very simple formula. Why do that formula we will skip and we will limit, and in that way we will achieve our pagination. And sorting, we can also attach sorting to our pagination. That will make our paginated data very efficient and very fast. So this was the whole 15 API we are going to do today from very scratch. And before we jump in, I would like to describe, see, this was the first part that we already did, 8 API endpoint. This was very basic read write operation, as you can see. After this, in that we also described what is Node and what is Mongo. So here we are not going to do, and this is advanced. So once you will complete this second part and first part, so this almost will have entire feature that MongoDB has to offer. Okay, so I am definitely sure that once you will go through this 1 to 15 in the second part that I am going to do, and the first 1 to 8, after that whatever app or whatever backend you want to make with Node and MongoDB, you will have clear idea in your hand. After that, you will be able to make any type of backend. These are the, see, in this 1 to 15 we are going to lay very core fundamental. So this will be so fundamental. On top of this fundamental, you will be able to build or develop any type of backend API with any type of functionality, right? So let's start with the first API. First we will insert the nodes. Okay, so as I have said, I will open the node. In this video I'm not going to create anything from scratch. I will use the folder and file that we already did in the first part. If you haven't seen the first part, I will give the link in the description. You can go and watch, and let's start it. So as usual, I will open my VS Code. Here is my VS Code. So this all be already created in the first part. In the controller, I will go to node controller. Inside node controller, as you can see, these all are the basic CRUD that we did. Now from here we can write advanced NodeJs and MongoDB CRUD. From here we will going to do our all advanced operation. So let's not waste a single time, just a start. Again I will refer to note our first API is insert multiple nodes. So let's do it. How to insert multiple node? So in the first part, as you can say, we did simple insert node. At this time we were inserting only one node, right, by using insert one method. Now let's this time insert multiple node at a single shot. This we also call as a batch write. In lot of scenario, if you write little bit complex and advanced backend APIs, there you definitely need batch write. We also call this feature batch write, right? So in those scenario, you need to know how to write operations in batch, how to update operations in batch. So let's do our batch write. So for that we will make our method. We will name it insertMultipleNotes. A sync function is required. So we will take request, response, and next, right? Let's go. Sorry, let's go. Okay, so this is our method. So one more thing, guys. See, here I have passed request, res, and next. You can pass any name. What if I will pass here request 1 2 3? What if I will pass here response 1 2 3? Will it not work? Definitely it will work, because this is positional argument of Java. Positional argument meaning this is based on position. So on 0 position it will be always request, on 1 position it will be always response, and on third position it will always be next. This is not named argument, and I am pretty sure JavaScript don't offer a named argument set. So this is positional argument. We can name whatever we want, but for the simplicity we have named it request, response, and next. So let's get started. So first part, to insert multiple, simply whatever our node information we were having inside insert node, we will have the same. So first let's prepare our data. So this here I am doing object destructuring. Object destructuring meaning I will take entire request as an array, and from that I will destruct one by one all the fields, so that every time I can simply use that field instead of every time I have to cold access that field. Okay, so instead of cold access I will simply use object destruction. See how we can do it. Object destruction, I will write in the curly bracket, and whatever field I need I will write equal to, and we are destructing from where? Request.body. Whatever field I need from request.body I will use that. So request.body. Now field I need here. Also before guys, let's wait. Before we insert our method, let's open the terminal and let's verify at least this is working or not, right? So quickly we can run npm start. It is always good practice before you write any line of code. I forgot that your server is up and running or not. You should always ping and check. So let me start my server. If it will give any issue, then we will solve. Let's see. Okay, so here it is saying server established successfully with MongoDB. Not an issue. If it has, so now open the Postman and check it. So inside Postman we will add one new API. Inside Postman we will add one new request, and we will name this request base API, and in this our local host should work, right? Let's see. Damn, our local host is working. Now we are good to go. So always we should check. Now our server is pingable. In the same way we will write. So inserting node, first what we are doing is, first we are preparing the data. So what will be the content of single node? So first thing, as you can see, title I will get from request body, content I will also get. After that tag I will also get. Each completed is simply a boolean value. This I will also get. That's it. Only 4 value I need. So with this 4 value, let's prepare our data. So I will copy this, right? I will copy this, and let's now what we are doing is, in this object destructuring, as you can see in the first line, we are going to, whenever we will call this API insert multiple node, in the request body we are going to pass these all 4 value, and based on these all 4 value we are going to prepare our 3 to 4 data, so that we can write in a bulk, right? So let's call it data 1. So this UUID v4 is a simply random ID. You can also generate any random ID. Even if you will omit the ID field, then MongoDB will automatically generate a new random ID for you. But since of manipulation access, I am using the UUID v4 package. It's very simple to use. Title, I will leave the title. Content, it will be content. Tag, it will be content. But apart from this field guys, I will add some new field. So one new field I will add stats. This will be going to array, and why I am adding this is, this we are going to need, since some of our API require array manipulation inside document, so for that we need. So inside this array, let's make one field called heading and give it some name, a stats heading or something, right? And let's name it title length, right? What will be title length? Simply we will get title and we will get the length, right? In the same way we will call content length, right? In the same content length we will get the content and we will get the length. So this we are simply making one array so that we can manipulate it. Later we will use some updating and removing array inside document. That's why we have created one array. So that's it. This is our field. So now let's prepare our second data. Since we are doing batch operate, bulk create or batch create, so let's make our second data as well. So we will name it data2. Let's call it title so that we can recognize what it is. We will call it second batch, right? Okay, here we will in the content, simply because so that we can just differentiate that this is our from the batch update, right? Give the colon, and after that let's in the same way let's prepare third data. At the same time we will insert three data. Name it data3. Let's also make this third batch, right? Let's also call this third batch, right? Okay, so let's very quickly recap. This is our very first API, insert multiple nodes. Inside insert multiple node, what we are going to do is at one single API hit we are going to insert 2 to 3 API. For example, I am going to insert 3 API. If you want, you can insert hundreds in the same way. So this is our data 1, and whenever we will call this API, title, content, tag and is completed, we will pass in our request body, and from that we have prepared our 4 data. This is our data 1, this is our data 2, this is our data 3. Now let's use batch, right? I will call it constant insert many result. Always call await because this is going to be synchronous block. Notes collection. This is our notes collection. Let's call it, or what is the name of this notes collection? Okay, we are simply calling our collection notes collection. So let's rename it so that we can understand notes collection. This is our notes collection inside the DB notes DB. Okay, and the collection name of this DB inside DB is notes. So now we have renamed it. So let's call note collection dot. See all the options we have. See, here we may also use bulk, right? But here we only need to use insert many, and inside insert many as a form of array, let's pass our data 1, let's pass our data 2 and pass our data 3 as well. Fine. Now let's since this is synchronous operation, so this is always good practice to wrap it with the try catch block, right? After wrapping, so that we can catch the error. So if something went wrong, we will be able to catch it. So for the response, we will again go to inserting the note. We will copy the response object from here. If it is success, then we will return it, note inserted successfully. Right, note inserted successfully, notes, let's call it notes. And in case something went wrong, so let's call it internal server error. 500 we use for the internal server error, and let's call it failed. Notes inserted failed. And so that we can know the cause of error, we will also return this error as well. Fine. So okay, now it will insert our data. So but see, insert many is requiring result. We don't need, just that's it. Insert record, this we can get, this we will also, our response we will also print. Yes, so guys, our this API is ready to fire. So before that we can fire, two last step is missing. Let's copy this API name, and since we are going to use this API in our node routes, right, we are going to use in nodes route. So to access here, we need to export it. So how we will export? Simply we will copy it inside module.exports array, and we will paste it. Now here, this we will call this set our route. So since this is going to read operation, so we can use get. Inside get slash name of the API, and from where we are fetching it, referencing it, nodes controller. What is the name? Insert nodes. Now we can use this. Let's save us. We have saved it. Let's one last time verify we haven't did any mistake. We will accept title, content tag completed, fine. This is our data 1, data 2, data 3. We have used simply insert many. If successful, we are printing the response. If fail, fine. So before that, guys, let's add one more API. Before that, let's first, so that we can read our APIs, let's call this read all, right? So let me add one new collection here, new request here. Let it name read all, call localhost, after that slash API slash node read all nodes, right? So we can call it. This will give our all the nodes. Right now inside our DB we have 9 nodes. So this is giving our all 9 nodes. Since last time we have inserted, so those all nodes it is giving. Wait, we can also delete all. So we have one method called delete all nodes. So let's see how we have implemented delete all nodes. Let me see, delete all nodes. So okay, so let us call delete all node, so that we can work with the fresh set of data, so that we can observe our changes as well, right? So let's add this request as well, delete all node. Let's prepare the route. Instead of API and instead of read all node, it will be delete all node, and method name will be delete all nodes, right? So now we can fire it will delete our all nodes. As you can see, right now we have total 9 nodes, it will delete. We are simply deleting all the nodes so that we can work with our fresh set of data. So we have deleted all the nodes. Now we can close this method. Let me fire again this read all nodes. See, we have 0. Now we will fire our insert multiple node, right, so that it will insert the 3 data. So let's add this request, name this insert multiple nodes, copy some API endpoint instead of read all node, call this, and in the body it will be raw, it will be JSON, and the array first we are asking is content. After content we are also asking title, or title you can give in any order, but let me give first title so that it can be in order. After that we are also asking tag. We are also asking is completed. Is completed is going to boolean value. We'll simply write false in the beginning. Everyone will be, each node will be false. So let's add the title. We will add NodeJs plus MongoDB advanced CRUD. Let me add by Gunjan Sharma. Okay. In the content we can simply add content of nodes, go here. Tag we can add as for now MongoDB. Is completed will be by default false. So as you can see, this is our data. Now if we will fire it, so based on this, as you can see in our code, we are preparing, based on this we are preparing our 3 set of data. Okay, our 3 set of data, and those all 3 set of data, by calling MongoDB method insert many, we are going to insert this. Okay, so and right now in our Postman you can see, if we will read, right now we have only not a single node in our DB. So let us fire this insert node. I'm going to fire it. We have fired it, and see in the insert many response it is saying acknowledge true, inserted count 3, and inserted ID is its ID it is also giving. Since we are only inserting 3, if again one more time we will fire again more 3, it will insert. So it has inserted or not. Let's just verify by reading all the node. Right now node count is 0. Fine. As you can see, first node, second node, that's it. Great. In the heading we simply gave heading length, we gave the length of the word count, so it did. So now as you can see, our multiple batch, right, you can say API is completed. We will move now, delete multiple node, guys. So delete multiple node, why I added here is, you can simply use MongoDB delete all method as we have already did in the last video, but the problem with that is that if you will pass simply no, see, I will give you a walkthrough of, see, this is also delete all. So here what MongoDB said is, if you will call delete many, then it will delete all, but we wanted to do it manually. Like what are the scenario, for example, user selected manually some 5 to 6 IDs, so only those we want to delete. So this will be give us more manipulation access in our own way. So in very simplistic scenario you can also use this delete all, this delete many function by MongoDB. But here we are going to write our own delete all. You can say inner working of the delete many that MongoDB gave. This will give us in since I already told this is the advanced node CRUD, so in some certain scenario we may need it. That's why we are going to do it. So we will simply write it constant. We will copy the method name from here, delete multiple nodes, right? Delete multiple nodes equal to async. Let me give request response next, and we will do one more thing, guys. We will copy this so that every time we no need to write from scratch. See what happen is programming is for lazy people. Like we every time we'll copy this and we will just change the name of the method, right? So we no need to write. So how we are going to delete? So the idea is for basic batch delete you can use MongoDB simple function that they gave delete many, but in certain scenario we need manipulation over that, so that simple method given by MongoDB is not sufficient. So here we will write our own wrapper of delete many. So let's see how we will do it. So the idea is we will accept the ID of whatever user we want to delete in the request body, and we will take each ID and we will call simple delete function of MongoDB and we will iterate through them. The idea is that, okay, so let first use object destructuring and get our ID. Idea is very simple, guys. We will simply take all the we will name it deletable IDs. This we will take from the request.body as an array. This deletable ID will be an array of ID that we want to delete, and each we will do the iteration and we will delete it synchronously. So whatever ID we got, let's print this also in the console. We can call it deletable IDs. Let's use a string interpolation and let's simply print it so that we can know whatever ID we have got. Okay, now our logic will start. So before that we will take one variable and we will store all the deleted ID. So we have called it deleted results, and as of now it will be empty array, an empty array. Now we will make a simple for loop. As you can say, it will start from 0 and it will go. See, this deletable ID will be an array. How we will pass an array, that we will also see. So it will go till there, and now it also got the element. Fine. Now in this loop we will delete it. We will call it nodes being deleted, and we will call our nodes collection as you already aware, and this nodes collection we will call delete one, because we are not going to use delete many function. Inside delete one, it asks you the ID that you want to delete. So inside ID we will pass simply element, right? We have passed the ID. Okay, so inside id, you have to also pass our id name, sorry. So we have did that. Now this will be always synchronous operation, so let's add the await, and now we can also print that this notes got deleted. Console.log. See, in the console while developing everything, debugging everything is very good practice. What happens is, it will, since something went wrong, it will be very easy to trace them because you are debugging everything. So now we will use our each deleted result and we will push inside this array so that we can print for the reference that our array, our each node got deleted from the DB. So for that we will simply write delete results, this is array, and we'll push. What we will push? We will push nodes being deleted result so that we can later use. That's it, guys, that's it. And let's wrap this entire for loop with the try catch block. This entire thing we will wrap with the try catch because this is always good practice to wrap API call with the try catch block. And here we will print the error, so let's copy the error message. While deleting, we will copy this. Okay, we will paste it here. All notes. Let's copy the success message all. See, about copying pasting, I want to quickly add one point. Some people say that copying pasting is a form of laziness. Why don't you write from scratch? I totally agree, but this is programming. You should not show that okay, I am not copying and pasting everything. You must copy and paste everything because see, programming and software development is all about leverage. Okay, I could write these things by my own, but why I am copying? For two reasons. It will save my time, and why to do low level thing, right? Since it is already written, so why not to leverage that, and it will speed up my time. So always remember, programming is all about leverage. Okay, no need to write everything from hand. So we have copied all these two. Now we will paste this outside loop. Okay, all nodes deleted successfully, and we can also call deletable, all the result that got deleted we can call it here, right? Fine. So this API also got finished. What we did is, one more step is to, now three more step is left. We have to take this delete multiple node, we have to export it from the node controller, and in node route we have to set the path. And after that we have to make sure in the request.body we are passing the array of IDs, so that we will also see how to pass array inside the node, inside the JSON, right? So before that we will copy this delete multiple node, and since we are going to use this in node route, so we have to export it. How we will export it? We will copy the API method name, we will export it in the exports array, and now let's build our route. We will call router dot, since it is delete operation, we will call delete. We will name this as the same ID. Anything in the request param we are not accepting. If it would have been single ID, then in the request param dynamically after slash we could have accepted it, but since it is multiple array of ID, so request body is our last rescue, right? So here we will not ask anything. From where we will copy this, reference this method from nodes controller. Fine. Now our routes is set up. So now we can head over to Postman. Before that we also have to save this so that server can restart. NodeMon is also doing his work. It is every time I am saving, it is restarting the server. Fine. I will go to Postman, and inside Postman, guys, I will add one new route, one new request. I will name this request as the same, delete multiple. Inside localhost, I will name this delete multiple. It will be type will be delete, and request body it will be raw, and inside raw it will be JSON. Now see here we have to pass the IDs, right? So we will write the bracket. Let's copy this name. We have to pass this array with the name deletable ID. Inside here let's call it deletable IDs, and inside this we have to pass in JSON, we have to pass array like this. Now inside we want to delete all 3 nodes. So let's say, so this is our first ID. We are going to copy first ID, we will paste inside this. We will also do with the second ID, since we want to delete all. We will paste our second ID as well. So you have to also observe how I am passing array in the JSON. This is also very important. And thirdly, I will also pass my last I, since I want to delete all. Okay, fine. See, in this way we can pass array, and this is also a way of passing syntax for passing array in the JSON. And even inside this array, if I have one more array, let's say by the name delete data, let's wrap it always in the bracket, delete data. Okay, and let's give it this. So inside this, no, don't forget the comma. If I have one more array, then like this I can pass, and like this, so this will become nested array. MongoDB also offer nested document inside document collection, inside collection in the same way. This is called BSON format that MongoDB uses, but right now we are using JSON format. Okay, so now our API is saved, and the plan is this deletable ID is the array from request.body that will hold our all ID, and one by one we ran the for loop. So first ID it will take and it will call delete one, and by the ID it will delete it, and after that whatever successful result that this will get stored in nodes being deleted, and we are pushing that also in nodes being nodes result array, and in the result we are displaying it. Fine. So let's run it and see. Right now if I am running my read all nodes, so I am able to get all 3 nodes. As you can see, total node count 3. Since I will run this, there should be not a single node, and in the end you should not give the comma. So let's fire it. As you can see, it is saying all nodes deleted successfully, acknowledge true, fine. So this deleted result that we have pushed from each delete operation, it got here. So maybe delete many function of the MongoDB, maybe they are internally doing the same way, who knows. But this was very necessary, because since we were doing advanced CRUD operation, so in some complex API call we may need this. That's why I included this. So we can also save this. Now if we will read all node, there is not a single node. So quickly I can insert all 3 nodes again more time. See, now we have all the nodes. Again I will delete all the nodes. See, oh okay, since ID got changed, so we have to copy the ID, not very. So in the same way we can delete. So I will minimize this request. So we also did our second API. Now let's head over to third API. It is saying sort nodes based on timestamp. So sorts nodes based on timestamp. Okay, so in this what we will do is, now we have 3 nodes, right? Now we want to sort the nodes based on timestamp. It is very important. For example, let's imagine you are building a social media backend. Their latest nodes you want to show on top. How you will do that? In the same way, we will, so for each node while being created, as you can see in our API, in each node we are passing the created at timestamp, and it is simply a date object. So by this date object which got inserted in the last, so what happen is, if we will translate this date object into the epoch millisecond, so latest date object will be always greater than the not latest date objects. So in this way we can do the sorting, and internally MongoDB is also doing the same. So for that, let's copy the method that we have did, and so that we don't have to write everything. So now we are going to do sorting based on timestamp. So here we will go, we'll copy this entire thing. Instead of delete multiple, we will write we have to copy this, sort nodes based on timestamp. We will copy this. Fine. Now it's very simple, not a rocket science. So for sorting, first we need constant our sort array. Since we are going to sort by the field created at, let's do this -1. So see guys, why I wrote -1 is, first in the sort I wrote the field name by which I wanted to sort, and -1 meaning I want to sort it by descending order. If you will simply give it the 1, then meaning now I want to sort by this field in the ascending order, but I want to sort in the descending order, so I will keep it -1. Fine. After that, so let's simply call our API. We can call it sorted nodes result. Fine. And how we will call it? Will be always going to synchronous call. We will call our nodes collection, as you know. Inside that, what we will do? We will call find method. Since we want to find all, we can also do this, or even if we leave the empty, it will mean the same. MongoDB will know the same. Now we want to sort it. How we want to sort it? We will pass our sort array. Scenario we already wrote, and since we want it in the to array, so we will take in the to array format, right? So that we can display it in our response. Now let's simply done guys. In this way we will sort it based on the timestamp. Instead, if you want, you can also sort it by updated at or by any other field. Just -1 and +1 you have to remember. By -1 descending order and by +1 ascending order. So now let's test this. So as a good practice, always wrap your synchronous API call in the try catch. So let me wrap it. I wrapped it, and now let me copy, because I'm lazy guy, I can't write by hand. I have copied, and in the success I will write this sorted node result. I will call sorted node result, sorted node result. Here also I will simply write sorted nodes fetched successfully. And in case if something went wrong, so again laziness, let me find some error message I haven't found, so let me just paste this one only. Let me paste this one only. I pasted, something went wrong, it must be internal server error. Let me call it failed. Let me call it failed. And what is the error? We also want to know that. Let me pass this. Fine. So now we are ready to call this. So what we did is in find as usual we pass the empty, so it will get all the result inside node collection, and now we want to sort it. So how we want to sort it? Sort function want the key or direction to sort. So direction we give -1, 1 negative, and by which field? So I gave at the created date. It is nothing but a date object that we gave while inserting this node. And two array we did because this entire we want in form of the array. If array we will not give, then it will be the projection result that again we have to manually do. So two array will do that work for us, right? So now since we did that, let us do our remaining step. Copy this, paste here, so that we can prepare the route for it. Now we will prepare the route for it. How to prepare route? Simply write router dot, it is read operation, so get is more suitable for this. We don't need any dynamic ID or something. From where we are fetching this node controller and the method name. Fine. So now let's save it and restart this. It restarted. Now let's head over to Postman, insert a new request. I will name this request sort node based on timestamp. Let's copy any node. Now our route is also ready. Okay, just a minute. I want to copy this. Again I am lazy so that I don't have to write. I copied. Now our thing is ready. If I will see, now it is giving us result based on sorted. So see, now NodeJs MongoDB advanced CRUD by Gunjan Sharma on top. Okay, so now let me reverse it. If I will do the one, so now result should be different. Now this last result, that is third batch, right, should be on top. Let me fire it. Exactly, see, now last result is in the top. So that's how sorting will work. Fine, it's very simple. In this way sorting will work. So now we have done our sorting. Now simply we will remove this sorting from also Postman. Sorting in the same way, guys, if you have any field you can do the sorting. Fine. Now we will do our next API. What is our next API? Let's go. Next API name is incrementDocumentField. Very true. This type of API we need, since imagine if you are building some social media app and every time someone likes it, you have to increment it, right? Every time someone views this, you have to increment the view or like. So that feature we are also going to do. So how we will do it? Very simple. We will show some laziness. We will copy the method structure. Good programmer is always a fantastic lazy guy. So let me paste this also. Okay, since Windows is not supporting my laziness, I will manually copy it. Fine, I will paste it. incrementDocumentField. So which field we are going to increment, guys? So as you have seen in our read all note, we have one document field called, let's say, title length, right? Title length, or you can say, or we can also add any field as well, not an issue. So let's do one thing, add one new field. We will call this field read count. Okay, inside insert multiple, let's add one field, call it read count, so that we can update it, right? Read count, by default it will be 0. Just quickly add it inside all three, and we will create one from bulk. So fine, we did it. Now we have to delete all the existing data, because otherwise it will mismatch. So we can simply fire this delete all method. It did. Now in the read all we don't have any notes. Now we can fire insert multiple. See, it did. If now we will fire read note, we have read count. Now we will increment this read count. This type of operation is very important. Like in some, as I have described, you may have to increment likes each time some user likes it. You have to increment view each time someone views it. You may have to increment share each time someone has tapped on share. So we are going to do that. So first we will take the ID which node we are going to increment. We will call this node ID, and this time it is not going to be object destructuring. We will simply take it from request params and we will call it node ID, right? If you want object destructuring also, you can do it. We will wrap this inside the bracket, and from here we will remove the node ID. Any way you like, it's simple, right? But normally object destruction we do when we have lot of field. Since we have only one field we want, then we also omit object destruction. So now let's I will add one filter. This filter I will use while updating our node, and this filter will be ID. And what is ID? This ID is node ID, right? This ID is node ID. Now let's write one increment document. This array we will use to increment. This will be array, and inside this array, for incrementing, MongoDB gave us this sign, this symbol, dollar symbol, and inc. And inside inc you have to write the colon, and inside one more bracket, which field you want to increment. I want to increment read count. By what value? I want to increment read count by 1. If you want, you can also increment by 100, 2000, whatever, but normally in social media, likes and share and view got incremented by 1. So we are also doing the same. Now these two data are ready, this filter and incrementer we will use in our actual API. So let's call it constant, let's call it incremented result. Fine, let's call it incremented result, and this is going to be as usual synchronous function. So let's call it nodes collection. One more thing guys, if you are not clear about synchronous and asynchronous function inside Node.js and in JavaScript, so I already made a very detailed practical and theoretical video. I will also give the link in the description of that video. You can go and clear your any complexity if you are facing in synchronous or asynchronous. So now let's go to work. Nodes collection dot, since we are updating, so we will write update one function. But which function we want to update? We will, by filter we already did, right? Filter, what we want to update, what is the value? Incremented document is the value. We already did that, right? So we did this. Now let's wrap this thing inside try catch. This is always good practice, wrapping inside try catch. Now from somewhere let's copy and paste the response. If it is success, then let's paste this. Let's call this node incremented successfully, and in the increment result we will give increment result. Or simply we can also give, this will be always 1, but what we will do is we will write one more field, incremented note, and what we will do here is we will call await notes collection dot find one filter. So this is simply to see that our notes count got updated or not. But in case if something went wrong, we also need to know that what went wrong so that we can solve the issue. So inside the catch block we will write this failed note incrementation failed. Okay, now one last step, we have to copy this and we have to export it. And now after exporting, we have to go to our route folder. We have to prepare the route. So it is incrementing, so put we can use. So a common REST API convention say to create, when you are inserting entirely new value, then post you can use. When you are fetching something, one or more result, then get you can use. When you are deleting something, then delete you can use. When you are updating earlier or existing thing, then put or patch you can use. But patch we use in those scenario where except ID everything we are updating. So in those scenario patch seems more appropriate. But here since we are updating only 1 or 2 fields, so we will use put. This is normal REST API convention. So inside this will be the route. Now here we need dynamic ID and the name will be note ID. By this note ID only you can see we are accessing it in our object destructing, right? So the same we have to pass. This note ID and this dynamic ID should be same. Now from where we will get it, notes controller, and this is the name of the referenced API. Now we are good to go. So now let's go into the postman and let's see, now read count of this ID is 0. We will each time we will update and it will get incremented by 1. So before that let's add this route, add request. What will we name? Increment document. Let's again do some laziness. We have copy pasted. Let's pass our ID here. Now we are passing some ID so that we can increment it. So in the request param only we will pass the ID, because see we are accepting this ID dynamically in the request param. Unlike, as you can say, in the delete multiple note, here we are not accepting anything in the request param. Why? Because request param is only appropriate to accept IDs, 1 or 2 or single ID. If you have multiple ID or something to accept, then only option is the query param or body. So but body seems more secure than the query param. That's why I am using here, I am using the request param, because we have only one identification to accept from the client. Here postman is our client, so we have passed it, and this will be put, as we have also given here put. So in the postman also it will be put. So now see, for the ID, this ID NodeJs plus MongoDB read count is 0. If I will run this, it will be 1. So it is giving some error. Let's solve this error. After a long time we got the issue. It is saying filter note. See, the reason for issue is note is not any field, it should be note ID. See, that was the error. Now we will fire. See, it updated. And see, we also in the last we also got the entire node, and this time read count is 1. Again we will update, read count is 2. As you can see, again I will do read count is 3. As you can see, again I will do read count is 4. So in this way you can do. Simply what I did is incremented node, in the response I am appending. See, you can see again I'm calling in the response so that we can get to know we incremented or not. So this was our increment node, guys. Fine. So 4 API call we did, almost 4. We have lot to do. Let's move to our next API call, multiplyDocumentField, guys. So in multiplyDocument, this will be same, just instead of increment we want to multiply it. Let's see how we can do it. So for multiplyDocument, we will copy this entire incrementDocumentField, and very few things we have to change here. Fine. So we will copy this entire thing. Now we will minimize this and we will work on this. We have copied, but name we have to get from multiplyDocument only. So multiplying in certain scenario we use for, let's say you are building some e-commerce site and or some ride hailing apps, and in the night you are asking some different fare for the user, for the passenger, and in day in some different fare. So in this scenario, the fare amount you want to, in night if you are charging more, then that fare amount you want to multiply, right? Or in some e-commerce site example, there is very high demand for certain item and supply is very less. So for that item you want to multiply the price by 2 times, thrice, 4, whatever. So in those type of backend application feature, multiply in combination with increment is also important. So let's do it. So we have copied entire method, just we will change the name. We will, as usual, we will accept the note ID. Instead of incremented, we will call it multiply. Multiply document, we will copy this. Here also we will paste this. And now we can also call multiplied. Node multiplied successfully. Node, here in the error we can also change multiplication field. Just only one change, guys, we will make. For increment we were using INC, $INC symbol, but for multiply we will use $MUL. For multiply, Node MongoDB gave us shorthand that is called MUL, and what we are going to multiply, read count only. Why? What value? So let's say read count we will multiply by 2. So whatever existing read count value will be, our this API will multiply it by 2. So if it is 2, it will become 4 after calling this API. Again if we will call, it will become 8, again 10, again 12, 14, and so on, it will go on. Okay, so let's figure out this issue. So it seems we have forgot one bracket, not an issue. Fine. So our this API very quickly ready. We just copy and pasted it. So let's export it so that we can build the route. We will export it in our export array. sorry, we have to copy this only name of the function so that we can refresh it while building route. So now in the route folder we will build the route. How we will build the route? Simply route. So this is again updating some value, right? So updating existing value. So as a REST API design suggests, we should use put. So we will use put. If it would have been new, we would have used post, right? So let's use put. The name will be this, and the ID we will ask dynamically, and the name of the ID we are seeking as node ID, from where we are referencing it from nodes controller, the name of method like this. So guys, now we are ready. So let's roll to the postman and create one new request. Postman will ask the name, we will give multiplyDocumentField name. Inside param, just copy this entire thing and paste, and this only this we will modify by multiplyDocument. Fine. And this we don't, we will save it and we will remove this increment. Now we came to multiply. So the moment we will fire this API, the ID we are seeking in read or not, I will show you. ID is first one, guys. So now read count is 4. If I will fire that this multiplyDocumentField API, that will become 8, right? So let's see. We are also returning the result as well. Before that, let me change this to also multiplied, right? Let's give us some appropriate name, otherwise we will get multiplied result. Now let's seamlessly copy the same thing, multiplied result. So in the JSON, guys, in the array we can have the same field name as also as field name as also as a value name. We can have, not an issue. So instead of incremented note, we can call it multiplied note. Fine. We will save the server, save the changes, and node1 will restart it. So now if we will fire as usual, ID we are getting this, we are passing this one in the request param, and we are multiplying this read count. So now the value of read count is 4. So 4 into 2, we are multiplying by 2. So it should become 8. Let's fire it. Why it is giving the issue? Because here we are using get, it should be put. So let's fire it again. See, very nice, it became 8 as we can see. Let's fire it one more time, it became 16. Let's fire it one more time, it's become 32. It will go on in the same way, guys. Here we can also see it will be 32. Fine. So we also did our multiply document increment, and we will remove this from the list. So multiplying and incrementing is very important if you are developing some social media type of applications. There multiplying and incrementing we need. Okay, so after that we will go for our next API. Go to our next API. Our next API is renaming the document field. So before that we go to our next API, guys. I am going little bit fast, but I hope I am breaking and simplifying the concept as simple as I can. If still you have doubt, then you can let me know, I will try to answer. So little bit fast I am moving because we have a lot of APIs to do, right? We have still did 5 API only, still we have to do, you can say, this much of API. So little bit I am fast, right? So this time we will do renameDocumentField. So we will copy the method structure But see, once you understand the 1 minute, see how seamlessly we are doing one by one each API. The reason for this is I understand the core node. After that, I understand core MongoDB. After that, see, the moment you will understand something basic. So any complex thing is built upon basic only, right? So that's why in the first video, from the very basic I gave you how to create folder, how to handshake with MongoDB and node driver, how to use MongoDB Atlas, and how to perform simple read-write operation. And this video, on top of that base only, okay, in this part, on top of that base only, I am doing this advanced operation. That's why we are very seamless, we are going very seamlessly. Still we haven't got any single issue, single error, right? And forgot about any blocking issue. Why? Because we know the basic and we are adding our advanced complexities on top of that base. So if you will work in this manner, you will not get any issue at all. So let's do our rename document field. So we have copied the method structure, we will copy it here, and name should be rename document field. Fine. So let name it rename document field. Very nice. So what we are going to do in rename document field is, sometime let's say this is my data, right? As you can see in the postman, I will expand it. So let's see, this is my data, read count, but now I want to rename it. Okay, right? So now I want to rename it something message read count, let's say. So that operation now we are going to do it. Inside collection we have document, and inside document we have some field, and that the name of that field we want to update. The value of that field we have incremented, we updated, but the name of that field itself we are now going to update. So this may be very important in some scenario. For example, you have in the basic system design or your architecture, you named it something else, but in the later cases, in the later time, those name of the field is not making sense anymore and you want to change it, rename it. So in those scenario, this will be helpful. So we will rename read count to message read count, or notes read count will be more appropriate here. Okay, so let's do this operation. Again, read count will be also same. We will copy entire thing from here. So let's save our time. We have copied entire thing, we'll paste it here, right? Now let's change it. ID we still need. If you will not pass ID while updating, then it will change the name of entire document inside your notes. This inside this collection, it will update your entire document. But first I will rename that field only in one document. After that I will update it entire document, right? Let's imagine something went wrong. So why it should go wrong in entire document? I may have million documents inside one collection. So first, it is always advisable to test with one document. That's why explicitly I am passing ID as a filter. Okay, so rename, let me copy this rename thing, and we are going to use, let me call it rename document, and here also we need to update rename document renamed successfully, not renamed error. Fine. And here also we can say rename result. We'll copy this rename result, we'll paste it here. Let's call it sorry, let's call it renamed note. Okay, now very important, everything we have copied as from the multiplied and from the increment only. Only thing here will change is, first thing, we are only going to apply this renaming effect on one document, by the which the ID of that document will pass in the request param. If we will omit this document, that in this entire document that we have in that, it will update. But since we want to only update one, after that we will update entire document. So instead of multiply, NodeJs MongoDB has given us shorthand. The name of that shorthand is rename, right? And what you want to rename? Read count. To what value? So read count I want to rename as note read count. How meaningful it is, right? So in update I did, and here also I am passing update 1 because I want to only update one document inside this notes collection. If I will do update all or simply update and I will not pass any filter, then it will rename entire document inside this notes collection. But as of now we don't want it. So our method is, our API is ready. Still 2 steps left, exporting this function and building our route. So let's do it. We have exported it. And for export also guys, we are using module.export. In multiple ways we can export it if we want. So here also we can write export. See, instead of count we can write here export default. Here we can also write, in this way we no need to export it implicitly again and again. But since exporting some backend developers do in this way, but what I prefer it is, it's not a clean architecture. So for example, I want to see here in one shot I can see, okay, these are all the API that I am exporting. Okay, so in one shot I can see. In this file I may have some helper method. Okay, so it will be hard. So that's why I am using this very clean architecture to export. But if you want, you can use direct export as I have shown you just now. So we have exported it. Now let's build a route. It will be also put operation since we are updating something. What will be the name? This, and we are updating by ID, so we have got the ID dynamically, and the name we are destructuring as note ID, from where we are referencing it notes controller, and the name of that referenced method renameDocumentField. So our API is ready. Let's head over to Postman, add one new request inside this collection, name the request as rename document, make it put request, copy some API, change the endpoint. Now let's say this, for this only I want to update, so I will copy this ID and inside the request param I will paste. So right now guys, as you can see, the name for this is read count. If I will fire it, it will become what it should become as we have named it. See, note read count. So let's fire it. Just make sure everything in our changes are saved and server restarted. It is. So now let's fire this. See, it said note renamed successfully, and after result we are also printing. See, renamed field have gone to bottom, note renamed count. But if I will show you in all note, it got only updated in O1. See here in O1, but not in second and third. In second and third it is same, but this seems bit odd, like in that we want to update our entire document, right? Not only one. So this is also good. Now we want to update all at one shot. So for that, what we will do is, instead of update one, see what we will use is update many, and we will not pass any filter. So what this will do is, it will update all, since we are not passing any filter. Okay, so let me save it. Now ID, let's just keep passing, because this is the structure of our API endpoint. If we will omit this ID, then our API will be not reachable, because this is a core structure of our API endpoint, but we are at this time we will not use this ID. So let's fire it. What this time it should do is, last time it has renamed only one field because we have used this ID, but this time it should rename entire document. Okay, so let me fire it. It said not renamed field. Let's check the reason for this. For update many, maybe it will ask empty document. Okay, let us check now why it has failed. Now let me check. So damn, why it failed, guys? See, I haven't passed empty bracket. Bracket. Now Node MongoDB got to know, okay, he want to update entire document. That's why he passed empty document. But earlier, instead of empty document, I was passing some ID. So MongoDB was knowing that, okay, he want to update only this node that match this ID. So now our entire, as you can see, our entire node got updated. If we will fire our read all node, see, this time only first node is having node read count field renamed. All second node and third node is having same. But if I will refresh it, rerun it, refetch it, you can see node read count, this is also having node read count, this is also having, and node read count, this is also having. Very fine, very good. So in this rename document field, we did in the two way. First, we renamed only one document by ID, and second, we renamed entire document, and that field of entire documents we renamed. So this API is also done. So we did 5-6 APIs. Now let's move to next API. So next API is add document, guys. Add document field. So what I am thinking, guys, is it's almost 2 hours. So why not in this video let's do this only, and this second from 7 to 15 let's do in next video. Otherwise this video will become 4 hours long. I don't know why it's so much time it is requiring, although I'm going this much of fast. The reason for this is, guys, these all APIs are very advanced, right? Whatever we wrote this API, these all are the advanced API, and I am little bit explaining the concept also. That's why it is taking the time. So what we will do is, in this video we will end it till here only. Till here we did 1 to 6. In the second video we will do from 7 to 8. Fine. So before we end the video, guys, if you found the video helpful, please like it, and by only your like I get to know that, okay, you liked my effort. Okay, making video, preparing the content, it's very effortful work. So at least your one like will, due to that your one like, I will get to know that, okay, someone is liking it and I have reason to go through that effort. Second thing, if you want to me to improve in certain ways, the way I am speaking, the way I am explaining the concept, the way I am dividing the parts of video, anything you can let me know. I will reply your all queries. Third, if personally, if you want to contact me for something, be it the project, be it some your own help, be it some freelancing project. So here I am writing my email, gunjan@geekforce.in. Here you can drop me a mail. So Geekforce is a site that I developed. Initially Geekforce I developed, I was trying to develop for a freelancing type of platform only, but this is undergoing development. That's a different scenario. But any query you want to have with me, you can drop me here on this mail. I will definitely reply. And as we decided, from 7 to 8 we will do in next video, because video already went 2 hours. And one more thing guys, before we leave, this was our second part. Earlier we did first part of the CRUD. Although first and second part is more than enough, and it is having entire advanced concepts of MongoDB, but I am also having third part. This third part will be last part of the MongoDB, and this is having very advanced topic that in 90% of scenario we don't need. That is aggregation, transaction, indexes, collations, logging, and encrypting field. So in third part, in a very fine way, theoretical way, and by very fine way, by the example, I will explain you each concept, be it aggregation, be it transaction, how to do aggregation in MongoDB, how to do transaction, how to do the indexes. These indexes we will also use here while searching node. While searching node we will also use indexing. But even in the third part we will learn this all, even super advanced part, even in more detail, in theoretical and in practical way. And believe me guys, even this second part is more than enough for you to build any type of backend application with any feature, because this is having sorting, this is having filtering, this is having pagination, this is having renaming, this is having bulk write, this is having bulk delete. That's all thing. But in very super advanced case, you may need to use these aggregation, transaction, indexes. But the moment we will also finish this sixth part or third part, we will become master of the entire MongoDB. After this third part, there is nothing that MongoDB node driver has to offer, and we are not aware of that. Okay, so just be with me once I do this second part. Just after that, I am also very excited for this third part, because this aggregation and transaction are very simple but very super advanced level of topic. Once you will know this, you will become very deep insider of the MongoDB, and you will just play with the Node and MongoDB. Okay, so until, be with me, be happy, be safe, and keep supporting me. I will be back with the second part, and after second part, this third super advanced part. Okay, thank you so much guys. Thank you so much for watching with me.